Well, that clearly wasn't supposed to be there. There's a common phrase that goes, "There's no such thing as a perfect movie." This also applies to our beloved Disney films, regardless of how much effort and care is put into them. Sometimes the creative team doesn't catch their own blunders. We're looking at some of those mistakes made in Disney flicks.
Okay, can I just say something crazy?
I love crazy.
As Anna and Hans dance in front of the lighthouse in the Love is an Open Door sequence, the lighthouse casts a shadow of them onto a nearby ship. What you may not have noticed is that their shadows seem to be hovering in midair. While we wouldn't put it past Disney to inject some of their magic in a scene like this, the two are clearly not floating when they're on screen.
Did it seem magical?
As a young Raya and Namaari share a meal and bond in the opening of Raya and the Last Dragon, a bowl of food can be seen lying down in front of Raya, though just a few seconds later, the bowl has somehow moved to behind Raya. Either this is some Fang trickery or just a minor slip-up. Who's to say for sure?
I made a mistake. I trusted someone I shouldn't have.
Your eyes may have been too misty to catch this goof in the climax of Luca. As the judge inspects Luca and Alberto's bike at the finish line, it's located right smack dab in the middle. Moments later, in the shot where Luca's parents rush to him, the bike has magically moved over to the far edge of the finish line. Now, how did that get there?
You raced your little tail off and kicked so much human butt, and I'm so proud of you!
As the infant Moana walks towards the magical ocean, there's a lot of odd little mishaps happening around her. Whether or not it was intentional by the animators is up for debate. Her footsteps in the sand disappear in each shot, while the palm tree leaf that she interacts with also disappears. Even the fish, who for a moment plops out of the water, doesn't leave an impact when he's put back in his place.
Oh, there you are, Moana. What are you doing? You scared me.
Fun, I want to go back.
I know.
You may have been too caught up in Idina Menzel's incredible singing voice to notice this mistake in Frozen's iconic Let It Go scene. As Elsa creates her icy castle, you'll notice that she undoes her braided hair. But there's something even weirder going on. You'll notice that Elsa's braid literally passes through her arm like a ghost, disobeying the laws of physics.
Whoa, Elsa, you look different.
In the scene where Ian and Barley are pulled over by Officer Bronco while trying to get across the bridge, you'll notice that the officer takes off his shades. But just a few moments later, the shades seem to have disappeared from his hands entirely, and are now nowhere to be found.
I'm giving you to the count of 3.
Okay, we'll go.
As the charming and stubborn demigod Maui steals Te Fiti's heart in the pulse-pounding opening of Moana, you'll notice that he uses his trusty hook to land his raft. Just a few seconds later, the hook has vanished. We all know Maui's hook is magic, but we didn't know it could also vanish on its own.
You see my hook? No magic hook, no magic powers.
In the climactic scene in Tangled where Flynn cuts off Rapunzel's hair, there's a shot that shows his hands are in shackles. Although, in a close-up shot where Flynn touches Rapunzel's hair, the shackles don't seem to be on him anymore. So either Flynn is the Houdini of the kingdom, or this was another case of classic Disney goof.
Look at me, I'm right here. Don't go, stay with me, Eugene. Flower, gleam and glow. Let your power shine.
Towards the climax of Frozen 2, as Anna orders the rock giants to throw boulders at the dam, they hurl rocks that damage the middle section, as well as another corner on the opposite end. Anna should be trapped, yet we see a shot of Anna running across the section that was previously damaged, as if nothing happened to it. Maybe this means Anna has some powers of her own.
I did it all without powers, so, I'm coming.
After Maui is unwillingly transformed into a half-man, half-shark, there appears to be nothing lying in front of him in the sand. Yet, just a few seconds later, a small rock suddenly is shown lying in front of Maui's feet, which he proceeds to kick.
It's not cursed.
Shark head.
Once the villainous King Candy, or Turbo, is defeated at the end of Wreck-It Ralph, the Sugar Rush game appears to reset back to before the jaded arcade character's invasion. Well, almost everything. The popcorn box bleachers at the start and finish line of the racetrack still appear to have the initials KC on them.
All right, to be continued.
As Hank and Dory make their way through the marine park using a stroller, they bump into a little girl wearing a striped shirt. In the next shot, we see the distraught young girl. Her shirt has changed from striped to pink. Maybe her mom brought her a spare shirt?
I know that. Why do I know that?
Both Incredibles films take place in an alternate version of the early 60s, which can be seen in the newspapers that the characters read in the films. Despite the setting, one of the newspapers in Mr. Incredible's office has the date September 16, 2002 printed on it. So either the super strong hero has been time traveling, or the folks at Pixar forgot to change the date.
Must have happened a long time ago.
In the scene in Pocahontas where Nakoma walks with Pocahontas to see the captured John Smith, they appear to be holding hands. Yet, their shadows don't actually portray that and make it seem like they're walking separately.
Pocahontas wants to look into the eyes of the man who killed Kokoa.
In the scene where Lilo and Nani visit the animal shelter, a telephone can be seen at the front desk, as Nani prepares to sign Stitch's adoption papers. But in the next shot, the phone appears to be missing entirely. Could this be a case of alien technology gone amok, or is this just a simple mistake that was overlooked? That's up to you to decide.
Why don't you run?
It's entirely common for an animal's eye color to change over time, but not quite like this. Nala's eye color changes seem to shift quite quickly. One moment they appear to be bright green, and the next they are clearly blue, and the pattern continues. Maybe it's something in the water?
Yes, we do. You're the king.
Nala, we've been through this. I'm not the king. Scar is.
The human world may be strange to Ariel, who's lived all her life under the sea, but it shouldn't be so mysterious to our eyes. As Ariel jumps into bed, you can see that there's no blankets. But in the next shot, in the same night, you can see that Ariel has wrapped herself up in blankets. How did those get there?
You are hopeless, child. You know that.
While Tarzan is rated G, it definitely doesn't shy away from showing some tense jungle action. As the titular hero faces off against Sabor, the leopard gives the king of the jungle some noticeable bright red scratches in the midst of the battle. Yet, when Tarzan emerges victorious from the battle, there's no scratches to be found on his body. Maybe the ape man has some superpowers of his own.
What was that?
When the mechanical boy next door, Sid, has to delay his rocket launch of Buzz Lightyear because of a thunderstorm, he sets his alarm clock to 8:25 a.m. However, the next morning, instead of going off at 8:25, Sid's alarm clock goes off 85 minutes earlier, at 7 a.m. That clock definitely isn't doing Buzz and Woody any favors.
Everything's under control. What are you doing?
The animation team behind this Disney classic had their work cut out for them, which meant that there were a couple of minor slip-ups along the way. As Pongo pulls Roger towards Anita and Perdita, you can see that Roger's hat has been left behind at the bench, with Roger having no time to pick it up. However, the hat is placed perfectly back on Roger's head just a few moments later as he approaches Anita.
What on earth?
Oh dear.
Oh, really? Oh, good heavens of all the...
There's a lot that goes into making your favorite Disney flicks.
Yes, pay attention.
So it is inevitable that there's going to be at least a couple of mistakes that fall through the cracks. While they may have seemed burdensome to the animators at first, it's certainly become fun for fans to spot the goofs. Do you have a favorite hidden mistake in a Disney movie?